Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle, and I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Michael Hall
So,
and Michael Reed.
Hi, haters.
What's going on? I like your new sweatshirt, sir. I like what you're sporting there. What are you wearing there, Reed?
I am wearing the featured sweatshirt from the Burgundy Zone. You
Ooh,
see,
what's
it has
that?
the HTTR, which stands for Hail to the Reed, and then under it it says Burgundy Zone. And I see you have one too, only yours is white.
I did, and I have another black one, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to be too much. I thought Hall was going to wear his burgundy one today, but apparently he didn't want to do
uh, yeah, I
Uh,
was, but it's also like 100 degrees in my room. So,
that.
yeah, not worth it.
unless you want me to pass out mid podcast.
You,
Yeah, that's why it's
after this
hot in here.
episode,
I'd put a portable fan in front of me right now, so I'm feeling good.
I was gonna say, if you would have worn that to the podcast, you'd have to throw out the sweatshirt after.
Right?
Good to catch up with you guys over the weekend. Our last podcast with Zach Selby was a great experience all in itself, and then we got a lot of great information. So today for you guys, we're gonna have a laid back kind of podcast episode for you, talk about the latest and greatest news regarding the Redskins, and then we have our top 5 wide receivers of the Redskins since the 2000s. We're gonna continue with that theme. So that being said, it just got released maybe an hour ago that the Redskins Training Camp is going to be in Ashburn, Virginia. It's coming back home, baby. Hall, I'll go to you first. What does this mean? Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm excited. Obviously, Richmond is kind of far for us Maryland folk, especially us Montgomery counters. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's going to be people able to attend it, which that would be tight because Ashburn's closer, and I would definitely go. But yeah, for it to just be at the facility out in Ashburn, at the Redskins, I guess campus if you want to call it. I think it's a good look, and just bringing it closer and bringing it a little, I guess, back home if you want to call it that.
Yeah, and what the problem before is that the Redskins didn't have a really good culture and atmosphere at Redskins Park, and so a lot of guys were getting in trouble during the Santana Moss, the Clinton Portis years. Here at home, they were getting in trouble being at the club too late, coming into practice drunk. I don't think that's the case here. So I think bringing it back home and closer is best for all parties involved. And I love this idea because that means I can go back to training camp again. I don't have to take days off work. What about you, Reed?
Yeah, of course I love it. That it's a sure sign that the NFL is planning to march forward and go ahead and start the season. The update I got said all 32 teams are going to be training at their facilities and begin training camp, so that's exciting. That's huge news. That's going to be awesome. I still, like I've been saying, I have no idea what they're going to do with the New York teams. I don't know how they're going to do this when New York is just with the COVID and everything going on. New York is I don't know if they're going to be able to play in New York anytime soon, but of course I'm pumped. I'm excited. That's summertime. It's Redskins football. Let's get this going. You know, let's all just rock out and all just have fun together, and let's go to training camp, and then maybe we can like be friends in real life instead of just on Zoom. Would you guys be okay to meet in person one day?
I don't know about that, Reed. I don't know about you. You look like the COVID type. I'm sorry. I don't mean to make jokes. I don't mean to make jokes. I know that people have passed away from this.
I'll go.
You guys don't want to you guys don't want to go and like sweat in 115-degree weather together? What the hell?
Dude.
Ready, guys? Beatles, Stones on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. You what? We're not friends.
I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I tried thinking of one. I didn't have one. I'm sorry.
I was trying to like show how good of friends we are that we're all doing it.
Classic Phil. Classic Phil. But I think that's a huge news. I think Reed, that you kind of elaborated on that already. Where in regards to it's the NFL kind of cementing the fact that football is coming back. Now, Sean replied, and actually he made a very good point. He said, watch them not allow fan access, which makes a lot of sense, which is why they're doing it at their facility. But the fact being is, I'm just glad that football is going to be back and we're going to be able to see some sort of sporting activity. It looks like the NFL steamrolling ahead. What do you think about that, Hall?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good sign. I actually was just seeing today. 100 days till week 1, baby. Let the countdown begin. So, yeah, it's definitely upon us. The time is here. definitely much needed in this whole crazy times that we're living in right now. And to say I'm excited is an understatement. And like Reed said, it's Redskins football, man. It's time to go. It's go time.
Yeah, and one thing I did want to ask you guys today. Look, I wasn't going to say his name. I was dead and gone with it. I was ready to wash my hands with it, but he continues, and Rappaport continues to want to rub it into our face. So, Reed, I'll go to you first. What is your immediate reaction to Trent Williams' comments to Ian Rappaport? I know Ian Rappaport was fueling the fire a little bit from the quotes that I saw. So, Reed, what was your input?
I feel exactly the same. I'm so over the Trent situation and just so happy that it's finally done that I didn't even bother reading it. I knew that it was just going to be fuel to the fire. It was just going to be Trent taking some shots at us, understandably, whatever. I mean, I just didn't care, to be honest with you. I'm so over Trent, I didn't even feel like reading it. I should have, I know, because that's what I'm supposed to do is provide insight to it. But to be honest, I don't care. I'm kind of like an outlaw. That's kind of like my thing now. I just don't follow rules.
Oh my goodness! No, I read that you've been that way your whole life, man. I know that for a fact. You're
I'm a
just
bad dude.
you're a rebel. You just give off that vibe. You're a gangster.
Yeah.
You're a thug. You know what it is. But Hall, do you agree? Do you agree? Hall? Do you agree with Reed regarding Trent Williams? Kind of, I'm just tired of this whole situation and just ready to move on. Or do you have a legit issue with Trent's comments poking at the Redskins, along with Rappaport even getting some stabs in there?
Yeah, actually, to be funny, like I saw the headline too, and I didn't even click it because I was just like,
Yeah.
we're still talking about Trent. Like, come on, like, are you kidding me? So I was actually just trying to look and see what the comments were, but my phone was taking too long to load. So I'm just gonna assume that he was taking some little like pot shots here and there about the Redskins, and I mean, hey, clearly Trent is not the guy we all thought he was because I thought on the way out he wanted to be welcomed back to the Redskins Hall of Fame one day, and
Right.
he's all about the team and he loved everyone there except for Bruce and the training staff. But I guess clearly I don't know what the exact comments were, but clearly with these comments, it's not looking like he's coming back in a Ring of Fame or anything like that anytime soon.
Yeah, and that's actually a great point because I thought this was kind of a reaction to Adrian Peterson's comments with that he had with Zach Selby, where he talked about, look, I thought that this could have ended in a better way. I thought that the Redskins kind of got shafted a little bit, and I thought they could have gotten more for Trent Williams, one of the better left tackles in the league. And I think this is Trent trying to mend that relationship a little bit because, look, Trent kind of was using information warfare. I'm not sure if you guys remember, during the draft, it got leaked that Trent Williams was considering retiring, wouldn't come back to the Redskins. So that in turn leaves all leverage to Trent, gives the Redskins no leverage at all with these other teams. They can be able to give them away for pennies because they know he's not going to be playing for them. I thought the way that Trent did that was very mischievous. I didn't like that. Obviously, AP did not either. And that's how I kind of viewed Trent Williams' comments here. It's like him trying to come back into good graces of a couple of fans and players. What do you think about that, Reed?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think that it's just kind of low. It's got to be in retaliation to Adrian Peterson. I mean, but then at the same time, I mean, Rappaport's just like, why even? I understand that you're a journalist and that's what you got to do, but like, why keep adding fuel to this fire, man? Just let it go. It's over. It's done with. This has been talked about forever.
To make it even worse, like this is Rappaport's quote.
Wasn't he asking him questions about the quarterbacks that he's played with?
Right, and then but the one that really stuck out to me was he asked Trent. He said, it's laughable because the Redskins were offered a second rounder, and then they get rid of you for a fifth and a third. Ha ha,
Yeah.
Bruce Allen. And it's kind of like, dude, are you supposed to be doing that? Like, isn't your job supposed to be biased? Like, why are you rubbing a team's publicly? Why are you rubbing your team's face in it? That just seemed like really poor taste, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it's just completely. It's so like you're just beating a dead horse at this point. Like we get it, we know, it sucks. Yeah, I know. We got gypped because of this whole thing.
This is all in retaliation because Chad Dukes embarrassed his ass on live radio.
I'm so
Yeah,
glad you
right,
brought that up. I'm
right.
so glad you brought that up.
That's the one cool thing Chad Dukes has ever done.
So, if you guys don't know, Chad Dukes from 1067 had Ian Rappaport on, I think about a year ago, maybe more. And Rappaport was very disrespectful on an interview with Chad Dukes, and he actually took another call and hung up on Dukes. So Dukes went on a rant, and like this was
Yeah.
national
like free
news.
agency, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, it was a huge time, and so it
It's
went.
hilarious.
It was like national news, and so the next day, Rappaport calls in to Dukes and apologizes and asks Dukes, do you have anything to say? Do you have anything to apologize for? And Dukes is like, no, why would I? The most.
It's just so funny because it's like you see like Rappaport has been called out so many times for putting out stories that just aren't true. Like him and Adam Schefter have these wars, and Schefter just completely buries them each time. And there's a reason that Adam Schefter is like the GOAT when it comes to NFL reporting, because he actually has relationships with people that tell him things. And Rappaport just goes off of hearsay, it seems like. And it's so funny. Like that Twitter war when Schefter clapped back at him after Rappaport tweeted something out, and it was just Schefter was like, actually, according to my sources, that is not true, and there has not been a trade, and nobody has even been in discussion of it. And everybody was just like, damn! We got a fucking NFL insider war.
Right, and it's funny because like when Ian Rappaport was making that call, me and Hall were in the truck together. We were listening to the conversation, and I remember thinking, I was like, dude, I just feel like Ian Rappaport's wife is in the room next to him. Like, they talked this out. She told him what to say and everything. Like that's where he kind of came off as like, well, do you have anything to say? And he's like, no.
He's like, no. He's like, you came on my show and hung up. What am I gonna know?
well, for things you said. Well, I wouldn't have said those things, Ian, if you wouldn't have done that. Yeah, that's why I love Dukes, because he is so truthful in that kind of capacity. Because I really don't like Ian Rappaport. He just kind of has a thing about him,
Yeah.
I feel like people like literally like just tell Ian Rappaport like any type of story, like anything, because they know he's gonna put it out there and to like make him look like an idiot.
They'll totally. I feel like teams use him a lot during the draft to put out false information, and they're like, all right, well, he's gonna set the smoke screen for us. So
it's funny because he's supposed to be like the head reporter for NFL Network, and I like listen to him like the least out of all of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that is hilarious, because he is. I just not like Ian Rappaport. I just always felt like he just got one of those faces, man.
Yeah.
One of those last names. What the fuck is a Rappaport?
You know how like in early days, like people got their last names from the jobs they did.
Right.
Yeah, like
where did you get Rappaport from?
Reed, Ronick. What the fuck is a Ronick? A Ronick virus?
No.
That's
close.
Damn, that was kind of cool though. That was tight of me. That was cool of me. That was alpha. That was just a rebel. I'm a bad dude. I'm a maverick.
But before we get into the top fives, I did want to ask you guys: are there any times that you've been at FedEx Field? Because the possibility of the fans not being able to be at the stadium this season, I want to ask you guys, do you guys have any times that you could think of, good or bad, preferably good, fun, that you have at FedEx Field that you can think of just to bring us back, to bring us closer to football season?
So one time, me and Chris Marley went to a Redskins Giants game on Monday Night Football, and this was years ago, and we were getting smashed, so we ended up leaving early, and it was snowing, and we see these Redskins fans throwing snowballs over a snowbank. So me, being drunk, I'm like, cool, we're going to join in on this. So, of course, I pick up one, and some Giants fan comes from around the snow pile and sees me throwing the snowball, and he's like, hey, you hit my pregnant wife. And I was like, wait, what? No, this is the first one I threw. And all of a sudden, a bunch of Redskins fans jumped in front of me, and they guarded me. I ran, of course. I'm a runner. I'm not a fighter. I talk a big game. I'm not as tough as I look. So then we ended up running into a limo that was sitting there, and the limo driver just let us into the back seat and was like, where's everybody else? And I was like, Marley, there's alcohol in here. And I was like, I don't know. We should probably go get them, though. We just took the alcohol and left. So that was my best memory at FedEx Field. Most of them have been fairly negative. That's why I refuse to go to games. But that was my good one.
Oh, man. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's a good bit. Hall, do you have one?
I wish it was as good as that one. I've told the story before. The last time I was at a game, yeah, I guess the Packers one was a little bit better. I went to
That sounded fun.
I went to the Thanksgiving
That sounded
game, the
tight.
first time the Redskins ever played at home on Thanksgiving, and we got a win, even though it was like a very crappy game as far as like overall. But we got the dub, so that was cool. But I would have to say one of my favorite times, if not favorite, would definitely be that Sunday night game with the Packers when Kirk Cousins went ham sandwich, Rob Kelly went ham sandwich, Jamison Crowder went ham sandwich. I was going ham sandwich, laughing at crying Packers fans. It was just a great time overall.
Yeah, and I love hearing that story because it's always good to
That's such a good story.
to hear people sit here talk crap about the Redskins, you know, and there was just something special about that night. Now, for me, it was the night that Freddie and I probably were one of the only people to ever smuggle alcohol into FedEx Field. We had those, I forget what it's called, but I think it's like the Red Zone or something like that, like the tailgate club they have over on the side. Like, we had tickets for that, but we had friends coming to tailgate. But we didn't bring any booze. We were waiting for the tailgate. And the guy that we were coming for the tailgate was taking forever. And so we're like, dude, we need something to drink. Let's go inside. As soon as we get inside, they call us. Hey, dude, we just rolled up. We got 30 packs for days. Like, man, we made the wrong decision because now we can't leave again. I went up and I was able to convince one of the security guards I was like, look, my one friend, he's really drunk. He doesn't know where he is. He's not from this area. He needs my help. If I come back here, will you please let me back in? I know you're not supposed to, but this is an emergency. He was like, oh, I don't know, man. And then he was like, all right, that's fine. And then as I was leaving, he was like, wait. I was like, damn, he changed his mind. I turned around and he was like, bring me back beer. Dude, I came back with at least 8 beers on me. Freddie had 8 beers in his jacket. We just went right through the gate and then walked in and watched. We got to drink for free up in the what is it called? Goodness gracious!
That's the Red Zone.
No, the high seats. Why can't I even think of it right now?
I don't know, but that's the good thing about wearing
the nosebleeds. Good lord.
That's the good thing. That's the good thing about wearing Jinko jeans like you wear is that you can fit so many beers in them. The pockets are so deep.
Dude, my jeans do look like Jinko jeans. So my wife fries.
No, I was just kidding. That would be tight though if you did. Like you and Juggalos wear them. Yeah. Whoop, whoop.
Did you say Juggalos wear them?
Juggalos. Insane Clown Posse fans.
Oh my, dude! I haven't heard that
the
name
scum
in so
of the
long.
earth.
I
always bad people.
No, I
They're
want to know.
Breed of human.
I want to know, like, when growing up, when we were in high school and everything, like 10 years ago, like the people that were fans of like the Insane Clown Posse, like, where are they at today? Like, you know?
Yeah. Where is the Juggle King looking for his Juggalo?
Yeah, they're looking at some Juggalo like campsite, like juggling together.
Real shit. And just so you guys know, I'm gonna say this right now. It's patented. If anybody ever comes out with it, we'll know that you stole it from this. But me and Mike Winters were making a cartoon called the Adventures of the Juggle King, and the Juggle King was a superhero, and he was like a juggalo, but he was like a king, and he would say, "Quick to the Juggle Copter!" And he had his little juggalette. He called her. He said, "Come here, my little juggalette, quick!" And then the bad guy was called the Diddler, and they were like, "Oh no, it's the Diddler!" And he
The Diddler. Is that why you guys always said that?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I did not know that. I mean, how much free time do you have to come up with a superhero?
So much.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Yeah. My dad had a lot of penthouses.
Right. Bless the Lord for Mike Reed. But look, let's move on to our top 5 wide receivers of all time not all time, since the 2000s. I'm sorry, everybody. So I'll let Hall go with this first because Hall prides himself in being a wide receiver, loving that. I'll let Hall start with the number 5 top Redskins since the 2000s.
Man, like we were spitballing earlier before we actually went live, I got 4 actually, in whatever particular order. So I guess my number 5 would have to be, even though I hate the guy so much, Rod Garner. He did have that 1,000-yard season. Other than that, he was pretty much a dud. He's literally the definition of brick hands.
Yep.
I remember when even watching him in college and he was coming out the draft, I was like, don't draft him. Like, don't do it, please. And, of course, they did it. And look how it turned out. he was out of the league eventually, and he's a bum, but he's the best one, and he's the fifth best receiver since the 2000s, which is saying a lot about the Redskins receivers since the early 2000s.
And that's a good one because my fifth right here is going to be Ryan Grant. No, I'm just kidding. It's not going to be Ryan Grant.
I mean, he was there for a while.
No, he was. But honestly, at my number 5, like I had a couple guys in mind, to be perfectly honest with you. But I think Jamison Crowder deserves to be on this list. The way that he worked in the slot. Look, I know he got injured halfway through, but he was rated the best slot receiver for the Redskins at one time. I just wanted to get that in there because at a time where it seemed like there was no help on the outside without Deshaun Jackson, without Pierre Garçon, Jamison Crowder was there. So I wanted to make sure he got in there for my list because I really did appreciate what he did for all those years.
I forgot about Crowder.
Yeah, that's good. Crowder's a good one. But my number 5 is just going to be based off of just one season, and that's Scary Terry. That's Terry McLaurin. Just one season so far, but I think he's already that talented, and he's going to be that good. When it's all said and done, if we do this list in 5 years, he'll probably be number 1. I have hopes for, but right now I'm just because it's only been 1 year, I'm going to go with Scary Terry at number 5.
All right. Well, Scary Terry at 5, I think is too low for Terry. But hey, look.
I mean, he's better than everybody on the list. It's just It's only been 1 year.
It's true. That's a good point. So, Hall, let's move to your number 4. Start us off.
It was actually going to be Terry McLaurin. Like you said, I know it's only been 1 year, but I'm just going to project out what he's going to be over the next 5+ years because he's definitely going to be one of those receivers that we re-sign. Hopefully, if they don't do that, then I don't know what the front office is doing, unless he falls off a cliff going forward. But I don't think he will. But he's definitely my number 4. Would have been, in my opinion, in running for Rookie of the Year. If he would have played the final game of the season, he would have went over 1,000 yards most likely. Even with the iffy quarterback play throughout the season, still put up great numbers. Highlight reel for the Redskins that whole season last year. And project great things for him and the offense going forward, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, Terry is a good pick. I'm not going to fight you on that. Not going to fight you at all. Now, my number 4, I think, is somebody that not many people are going to remember. And look, it's probably not his career. Everyone's going to even forget that he was here. But Antoine Randall L. I think that while he was here, he did perform well for the Redskins. He was like, on any other team, he would have been a nobody. He wouldn't have even played. But on the Redskins at that time, he was starting. You know what I'm talking about, Hall. He was starting, and he was doing well. So I think Antoine Randall L., just because that dude is so funny and he played so well on the football field, I think Antoine Randall L. deserves to be there.
I miss him on the sidelines too. He was pretty funny.
Yeah, so do I. He was a funny dude. My number 4 is you're gonna have to venture back a little bit. I'm gonna go with Lavernius Coles. Old Lavernius Coles. Lavernius Coles had a couple of pretty good years for the Redskins. He went over 1,000 yards, I know for sure at least once, and then over 900, I believe, another year. He was a smaller wide receiver, but he was physical. He was tough. He could do it all. He could stretch the field. He could make the tough catch to pick up the first down. Lavernius Coles was somebody who I really loved watching as a Redskin.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, and look, that's where I was going to go with my number 3, but of course you had to come in there and slide it underneath of me. So, Hall, judging by your reaction, it looks like that's where you were going, number 3.
Yeah. Was I going to go number 3, Moss? No, I'm actually going to put Djax at number 3.
Oh, nice.
Just, yeah. I mean, he was injured a lot throughout his tenure here, which is typical Djax. But when he was there, he was leading the league in receiving yards. I think he had averaged 19.6 that year, that 1 year.
Something close to 20, yeah.
Yeah, close to 20, which is ridiculous. I think he had double-digit touchdowns that year. And just like his whole tenure here, I mean, I wish we would have re-signed him instead of letting him and Garçon go for bum-ass Josh Doxson. But, hey, you live and you learn. And, yeah, my number 3 is good old Djax.
Look, and I'll piggyback off of you because Reed stole it from me. I think you're right. Djax does deserve to be their number 3. He was a difference maker for here in Washington. Everyone thought, don't do it. Don't go for Djax. Don't sign him. Free agents never work out here. And he was one of the lone guys, one of the lone free agents to come here and do well for the Redskins. He was an actual weapon, and he clicked well with the offense. I think Djax at number 3 is perfect there, Hall. So Reed, start us off with number 2. Who are you going with?
My number 3 is also Djax, just so
Did
we're
I
clear.
skip you?
No, I go last.
Oh, I'm
Djax is
sorry.
also my number 3, though, just so you know. But I could start us off with number 2 since I had Djax number 3.
No, it's all right. I mean, it's fine.
So should I go 2?
Sure.
Okay, number 2, I'm going to go with Pierre Garcon.
Yeah.
Pierre Garcon, one of everybody's favorite Redskins. He was such a physical wide receiver. 2012, his first year here, he really kind of put his name on the map after coming from the Colts. I know he had a big season his final year in Indy, but then coming here and just being the guy, the wide receiver that you could really count on. He was physical, he was tough, and he had some speed. He made some big plays, and of course there was that season he led the NFL in receptions. And Pierre Garcon, the Haitian sensation, is just somebody that I love. And I remember one time we were watching a Redskins game up at Memories, and this kid Ross, bless his soul, he's a simple guy, nice guy, very simple. And he was like, Pierre Garcon's Haitian? Where's Haitian? And I was just like, are you fucking serious? Okay, all right. So that's.
I love Mount Airy.
Yeah.
Where's Haitian?
Where's Haitian at? And I was like, yeah, you're serious, right? Okay. All right.
That's a great one. Now, at my number 2, I have to go with Santana. For so many years, he stuck with the Redskins, and was sticking out for the Redskins, was one of the only weapons to be considered for the Redskins offense for many years. You had Chris Cooley there, and then Fred Davis, but Santana for so many years was our wide receiving core. And we, as Redskins fans, we talk about we never have any big wide receivers. It's because Santana was around for so long. And he always caught the football. Later on in his career, he was even helping out on special teams. So I think Santana deserves the number 2 spot since the Redskins since the 2000s, easily. What about you, Hall?
My number 2 is also Pierre Garcon. I can remember back when we got him in free agency, I was psyched because I was like, finally we're gonna have like a big time, like decent receiver here in Washington. It's been so long, and he came out and produced right away, put up great numbers. I like to call him the mouthpiece because only he had the crazy mouthpiece, but also one of the biggest shit talkers on the field. Always went his mouth, who was willing to get in your face and never back down. And again, one of the best traits you can have in a wide receiver is he was really helpful in the running game. He was a willful blocker. So Pierre Garcon, definitely my number 2, and I wish we would have kept him again over bum ass Josh Doxson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everybody does.
Yeah, and unfortunately that year was just such a catastrophe for the wide receiver position.
Yeah,
so much was put on Josh Doxson, and everything shipped out. I mean, that was just destroying of property and just advance. So, Reed, what were you going with?
I was going to go with my number 1, the greatest practice player of all time, Taylor Jacobs. I'm just kidding now. Number 1, I'm going to go with Santana Moss. Just the longevity in which he produced. He was like you said, he was our big play threat. He was our wide receiver, went over 1,000 yards a few times, made the Pro Bowl. And he was really the guy. And just those days with those guys from the U, Santana Moss, Clinton Portis, Sean Taylor, and even towards the end of Santana Moss's tenure with the Redskins, he was still put up he still had some big plays, like RG3's rookie year when Santana Moss was really starting to kind of decline. He still had a bunch of big plays, and he's still around the Redskins. I remember go back and look up Santana Moss's combine numbers. Santana Moss destroyed the combine coming out of the U. He ran like a low 4.3s or something. He had like a 40+ inch vertical. It was just insane. And Santana Moss, I think, is going to be my number 1. And shout out to Santana for sticking with the Redskins and sticking around and really being a big part of this organization going forward.
Yeah, and that being said, I just want to real quick before we go to you, Hall, happy birthday to Santana. Happy belated birthday. I think his birthday was yesterday or the day before. So, look, we did this for you, Santana. I just want to let you know that. Happy birthday, brother. So, Hall, let's go to you. What do you do in that number 1?
I'm going to go with Santana as well for a lot of the reasons that Reed said. Just the longevity, the explosive plays that he brought when the offense was not explosive at all a lot of times. He was like our go-to guy as far as the offense a lot back in those Mark Brunell years. Obviously, everyone remembers the Cowboy Killer game, 2 touchdowns and like
Monday Night Miracle.
Monday Night Miracle, exactly. Like I said, Mr. Cowboy Killer, I mean,
as a Redskins fan, always showed up against the Cowboys.
Exactly. As a Redskins fan, what else could you ask for out of your player than a nickname as the Cowboy Killer? And like Reed said, when he was there with all the U guys, he was mentoring Sean Taylor. All the young receivers he's mentored, and again, he's been still with the organization, still around the team, still around the facilities. So he's been number one.
I like that a lot, but look, my number one wide receiver is a guy that I loved since the day that he was drafted, and that is Scary Terry. He is the best wide receiver that has
Definitely the
walked
most talented,
walk through the
100%.
door. Nobody else. I truly believe there has never been a wide receiver to walk through that door like Terry McLaurin. And I truly
I
believe that.
agree.
I think he is the best wide receiver this team has had since the 2000s. And I think I'm going to be before it. And I think it's going to happen. And I think it's going to not happen because of physical traits. I want to make sure that's stressed, because the reason why I feel so strongly and I feel like Terry is going to be a great superstar, the reason that's my pinned tweet on Twitter. You go down and look at my pinned tweet. It's me saying the day after we drafted Terry, that's our best value pick right there in the entire draft. I'll stamp that. And I truly believe that it's because of his mind. Mentally, he has all of the he's just like one of those humans that people want to gravitate towards, that want to learn
Right.
from. So I think Terry at number one is it for me, and I wanted to make sure I was the last one going.
Yeah, and I mean Terry McLaurin, you completely got it right. Like it's his mindset. Ron Rivera's came out and just said what a treat it's been to work with Terry McLaurin. How impressed he is by him, and you're right. He's so smart, but on top of that, he does have the physical skills too. Like he ran a 4.3. He is 6 foot tall. He is over 200 pounds, and he's so like what you didn't see him do this in college, but like not only is he just a phenomenal route runner, which is completely translated to the NFL, he's a student of the game. Darius Slay said was just impressed for days after that game. But him going up and getting the ball is just so incredible. Like that one catch, who was it against the Jets, where he literally jumped. If you go back and rewatch it on Twitter, they're like Terry McLaurin jumped 21 yards forward to get this ball. He seriously jumps. And 7 yards downfield, he finally lands with the ball in his hands, where he's snatching it away from, I believe it's Marcus May, and it's literally 21 feet. Like, and you're just like, God, everything about the dude just screams number one receiver. PFF, he's the highest rated rookie wide receiver to come out since Odell Beckham Jr. He's in elite territory. He was the 5th overall wide receiver, I believe, in terms of PFF score. And you're right, if he would have played and if he would have played all 16 games, and he wouldn't have had, if he would have had a steady quarterback, he would have easily went over 1,000 yards. I mean, he already had over 900, and he didn't play every game. So it's incredible, and you can, in a couple of years, he'll without a doubt be number one on everybody's list.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to say was, I think that's directly correlated to when you talked about how Terry, not translating from college to the pros, like how his game in the pros looks very different from his game in college, right? Because he was like the 4th wide receiver at Ohio State.
Right. He was like 3rd, yeah.
And it kind of shows you that all of the offensive plays at Ohio State are scripted, where in the pros, it's one-on-one matchup basis. You have to win your matchup based off route running, where in Ohio State, it was we're getting you open with the plays. We're designing everything for you to be that way. So it kind of goes and shows you why Dwayne last year, when he first stepped on the field, was kind of hard for him because it's a completely different offense for him. It's hard for him to gauge, where Terry was better set for the pros because he was so used to running all these routes in practice without no eval, when everything was already scripted. So he comes to the league and looks phenomenal at it. And I think everyone hit the nail on the head. Look, Scary Terry is the man. There is no debate.
Without a doubt.
Now, so couple things I wanted to talk to you guys about. Let's just float some things around. If we want to talk about some fantasy coming up this year, who's going to be the top overall pick? Who are some sleeper picks that are sitting in the wayside? So, look, let's go to you, Hall. I know you're the fantasy nut. Give me a sleeper that you have in your chest. That not for you personally, but if you were helping out a friend, you're like, yo, watch out for this dude, late rounds.
Well, seeing how this was such a heavy wide receiver draft coming in this year, and a lot of these rookies are going to be contributors going forward in this upcoming season, I will take the wide receiver route, and a sleeper pick in a later round, I would have to go with, I'd probably say Brandon Ayuk, the rookie that the 49ers drafted.
They're going to use him well.
Yeah, he's automatically going to come in. He's going to be that number one type guy. He's a downfield threat. He can go up and get the ball, real good 50-50 ball guy. And I just think that Kyle Shanahan is going to do great things with him. He's going to scheme him open. They might use him in the run game, just like they use what's his name,
Debo.
Debo Samuels, and he'll be a great counterpart to Debo Samuels. And with that run game being so strong, play action, he's going to be a huge threat downfield. Look for him to possibly have close to double-digit touchdowns this year.
Yeah, and I really like that because I'm going to piggyback off of you. I think you're absolutely right. I think it's the wide receiver position, and I think it's a rookie, and I think it's Michael Pittman.
Yep,
In
I was going to
Indy,
go there too.
Phillip Rivers coming there. Obviously, he has T.Y. Hilton, who wants an extension to be able to go out through the season, but we don't know how that wide receivers room is going to look with Phillip Rivers. And he's guaranteed he gives guys targets. He can get the ball to the wide receivers. And Michael Pittman has proven on film, if you give him the ball, he's going to catch it. So I think Michael Pittman could be a late-round steal for guys that could next year be a high third-round within the top 3-round selection.
Right, and let's not forget Phillip Rivers. What have been his targets every year when he was with the Chargers? He loves those big body wide receivers. You look at Vincent Jackson, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, all these guys. They're all big wide receivers that he loves. That's his thing. And so, yeah, I would agree. My sleeper, it's somebody who I've talked about before, but somebody who I really, really think has a chance to just have a special year. It's going to be Drew Lock as a quarterback. Mm-hmm. If you seriously just look at that Denver offense, first of all, not taking anything away from Drew Lock. Drew Lock played fantastic last year when he finally started towards the end of the season. But you have a wide receiver going into his third year like Cortland Sutton, who just went over 1,000 yards. He's very talented. He's a big guy. He's a big-bodied wide receiver. Opposite him, now you have a first-round pick and arguably the best wide receiver in the draft in Jerry Jeudy. And then inside of him, you have probably the second fastest player in the entire draft if he would have been able to run his 40 in KJ Hamler to play the slot. That right there, just at wide receiver, will help him immensely. Then you look at tight end. They have a former first-round pick in Noah Fant, who's extremely athletic, who kind of came on in spurts last year. And then on top of that, they also drafted the most athletic tight end in the draft in the middle round with Albert Ekwegbunam, who just so happened to play with Drew Lock at Missouri, so he's too deep at tight end. And then you look at their running backs. Obviously they have Philip Lindsay and Royce Freeman, and then you add Melvin Gordon. So I think that offense is going to have to score a lot of points. They're set up perfectly, and there's no excuses for Drew Lock not to really kind of take this league by storm and put up some pretty big numbers. And he's totally somebody who you should take a flyer on late in the draft as a backup quarterback.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I've been on the Drew Lock train since the end of last year going into this year. I knew they were going to make moves in free agency to get him weapons. I knew they were going to draft weapons. And, I've been very vocal telling everyone Drew Lock's going to be my guy in fantasy this year. And you're right. I look for him to put up huge numbers in the AFC West.
Yeah, did you guys hear the recent news? Let's keep it in the AFC West. Henry Ruggs had a puncture
dude,
wound,
how crazy is that?
And his dad said that what he had was helping a friend move, but he's going to be okay. Nothing was wrong, but,
lucky.
Very lucky. And
they said it just missed his femoral artery.
No way.
Sean Taylor got. Yeah, Jeez. They said it was just like an inch or so away, and that it could have been game over.
Oh my goodness,
that
he's
would have been crazy.
Imagine
femoral, whatever the fuck it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got it pretty much right. But one thing I wanted to discuss, because it's something that's been picking at my mind, because I just will not allow this to be reality. Every time I think about it, I'm like, no. But the thing is, who do you draft first in fantasy? Who would, if you had the option, you were going wide receiver at this round, and these two guys are available, which one are you selecting, Hall? Are you going Mike Evans, or are you going Chris Godwin?
I'm going to throw a flyer out there. I'm not taking either of them. I'd take DeAndre Hopkins. I think that with Cliff Kingsbury in that offense going right beside Larry Fitzgerald, you got Christian Kirk in the slot. Kyler Murray, year 2 in that offense, which you already knew going into year 1, was going to take huge steps.
Yeah.
And I just think the D-Hop is going to have probably over 100 catches this year, double-digit touchdowns, and this is going to be that breakout year that's going to make Bill O'Brien say, what the hell did I do?
And what about you, Reed?
I think the first wide receiver taken should be either Michael Thomas or DeAndre Hopkins. But if you have to choose between Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, those are the top 2 available. It's tough because you do kind of want to go with the person who should grow a little bit more with Chris Godwin. But Mike Evans has put up over 1,000 yards every year that he's been in the league. Mike Evans is going to continue to grow. He's a freak. He's he's never gotten the recognition that he should. Honestly, what he's done has been pretty historic. Everybody wants to talk about OBJ from that draft class, a few of these other guys, but he's been the consistent one. He's the one who's guaranteed to get over 1,000 yards. And with Tom Brady throwing him the ball, the weapons that they have there, much as I love Godwin and I love his game, I'm still going to go with Mike Evans.
And that's I agree with you there. And the crazy thing is I feel like fantasy-wise, I feel like both of those wide receivers are going to take a step back this season. And that is because adding Tom Brady to the equation. I know that he is considered the greatest player of all time, but the thing is,
he doesn't throw it downfield like that anymore.
He has never thrown it like
that. He did
that.
1 year with Randy Moss.
Right. And that was it. I mean, for the most part, when you think about all the Patriots teams, you just think about a round table of running backs that they throw it out of the backfield to, and they have a great running game.
Receivers.
And then a great tight end. That's been their MO for a long time. And so I feel like this is such a weird scenario, because could this be one of those huge busts from the start where Tom Brady just comes in and lays an egg in Tampa? I mean, the NFL would just erupt.
Right, and then especially if Jarrett Stidham goes out there and throws for over 4,000 yards and has like a 3-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, something like that.
Dude,
but
what a FU that would be if Bill Belichick would make the playoffs with Jarrett Stidham.
Right, exactly. How funny would that be?
That would also be great news for Josh McDaniels. I guarantee he'd be a head coach next year after that, too.
Oh, yeah. He would, yeah. And that's the thing. I wish that we would have seen this when Brady was in his prime. So that way then we could honestly say, was it Brady or was it Belichick? Like, who's the one who made it? Because if they both just go out there, I mean, like, that would have been so much easier. But the way it stands right now, if Brady goes out there and stinks, there people are going to be like, well, he's 42, 43 years old, what do you expect? But
I mean, I expect him to come in and have pretty good rapport with Mike Evans and Godwin.
They're already working.
Yeah, they're already down there working out now. So, I mean, I think they'll be a little bit behind, but I think they'll hit the ground running. But if I had to answer the question between the two, I'll also go with Mike Evans. It's just, I mean, a lot of people don't even really notice. This dude is on like a Hall of Fame career path right now. Like you said, over 1,000 yards every year. Mr.
Nobody
Consistent.
talks about it.
Exactly.
Right.
Everyone's talking about OBJ and Mr. Superstar, and I'm like, no, Mike Evans is Mr. Consistency from that draft. And I think another 1,000-yard year, another huge year from Mike Evans.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to change the subject. If you were going to talk about him, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and it's funny because, when coming out and people were talking about how Evans be a bust because of Manziel. Manziel made Mike Evans. Right. Where it looks like it's the other way around. There, brother. It looks like Mike Evans made Johnny Manziel look real good. I remember his days at Texas A&M. He absolutely dominated. That was fun to watch. He
was out there bossing people in the SEC.
Absolutely. Right. So, Reed, what were you saying?
I was just going to bring up that one person who I'm going to hope that I can get, and I hope that I don't reach for him, is going to be Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think that in that offense, first of all, we've talked about it before, he's perfect for that type of offense. He's such a good, patient runner. He can do it all. He can catch the ball out of the backfield, and this is the highest. Andy Reid has never taken a a running back that high. Yeah. He's never taken one.
Usually it's like the second or third round.
Above, it was always the earliest he'd taken one, I believe, is 50 or 51.
Okay.
This is the first time that he's ever taken one in the first round and before pick 50, and it was at 32. That's how highly he thinks of him. Pat Mahomes really wanted him. He was texting Andy to go out and get this guy, and that, I think, should just go to show you, like, this guy could do some pretty serious things in this league.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, because when I did the film breakdown of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the one thing that jumped out to me was that he's pro-ready. And what I mean by that, like the timing of his routes, so like, he would chip block off of help with the line and then be able to turn around for the ball immediately. Those small, minute details mean so much in the pro game. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire, in my honest opinion, look, I know we know D. Swift. He's a great guy. But I just felt like Clyde Edwards-Helaire was better fitted for a pro system now, and I think LaShawn McCoy, if I'm not mistaken, was like a second or third round pick. So it goes to show the kind of pedestal that Andy Reid is putting CEH on right now, because, and we've talked about it before, every year in fantasy, Andy Reid's running backs always rank in the top 10 at the end of the year. If you put all the numbers up, they always do, because Andy Reid is able to get the ball out in space. He's going to be able to do that with CEH. I absolutely love that. Reid, do you have anything to add to that, Hall?
Yeah, I mean, another great running back that I watched at LSU, and he kind of reminded me of Brian Westbrook. even before the Chiefs.
Yeah,
drafted,
that's a
like,
real good.
That was my player
for him.
comparison to him. So it's just kind of funny that Andy Reid took him as his running back. But speaking about the Bucs and Tom Brady, I actually thought the Bucs would be the ones to draft Edwards-Helaire because Tom Brady loves his running backs out the backfield, and that was like pretty much the perfect kind of a Deion Cole / James White kind of hybrid guy. So, but again, great fit for the Chiefs, and like you say, he's going to be a top 10 running back for sure. And Andy Reid's going to use a dude like a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, I'd actually mocked him to the Bucs in the second round in one of the drafts, and you're right, he would have been perfect. He would have been a perfect fit for a Tom Brady offense. But instead, honestly, he's in another fantastic fit, possibly even better with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that's going to be fun to see what they do with him. So obviously, at this point, though, it's pretty well known that Christian McCaffrey should be the first pick, right? Top-rated running back. Okay, all right. So then,
can't even argue that.
Yeah, right. So then who do you go with number 2, though? Who do you think should be the number 2 pick?
I think it should be Zeke going there with that offensive line. They don't want to pay Dak Prescott. So I think that what they're going to do is they're going to lean heavy on the run because they just paid Zeke. And that's – you have to imagine Jerry is like old old farmer. If he pays you a lot of money, he wants to make sure he gets a lot out of you, and that's what he's going to do with Zeke, and that's why I think they're going to run the ball a lot, and so
and with all those weapons on the outside, it's going to free up the inside for Zeke, man, and it's going to be scary to watch. Another, of course, I expect Saquon to have a huge bounce back year as well, and I think Saquon's honestly more talented, but I think you're right in that. With what's going on there, I think that Zeke is going to have another huge year.
But you're probably right, though, Reed. It should be Saquon at number 2. At the end of the season, what he has done the past 2 seasons is absolutely ridiculous. And, look, I know I fought you tooth and nail about Saquon for the past 2 years. I just did not want to buy on that train. Just don't do it.
I know you didn't.
And I'm glad the Giants did it because they put themselves in a franchise hell. That's not my fault. But for fantasy, I did undervalue him. Will
you admit how talented he is?
Yes, he's incredibly
best
talented.
Running back to come out. I remember us talking about it, and you were like, he's not that good. And I was like, Kyle, just admit it. Go back and watch it. He's pretty fucking good when he was coming out.
And look, he's been like the only thing on that offense, besides OBJ.
Horrible offensive line until...
the guy was an absolute nightmare for the Redskins, and he's going to continue on that path. But I think that's a great point to go with, Reed, on what the first round is going to roll out like, because this year is going to be all over the place. A lot of big pieces have been moved, and so your normal draft is not going to go down the way that it is. It's going to be fun to watch, and so if you guys want any fantasy talk, we're going to be here for you. You can always message us at any time. If you have any questions about keepers and stuff like that, we are all involved with that stuff.
How do you guys feel about what Deshaun Jackson had suggested the NFL do if they don't have fans to mic up every player on the field? And he said, he was like, I guarantee people want to hear the trash talk between these players more so than they want to hear the fan noise anyway. Like, imagine that would be so funny to just have players mic'd up on every play and listen to them on the stream over the broadcasters.
Dude, they would Sorry, go Reed.
No, go ahead.
No, just saying they would be beeping every second.
Yep,
that
exactly.
would be so funny.
It would sound like a radio edited song where it'd be like, and I'm gonna
put a little delay on it, make sure.
Dude, my favorite is when the NFL Network does like the over the field camera, and you catch that one glimpse of some dude's like, "Hey man, fuck you, dog."
Yeah.
You hear it on live TV. We just act like that didn't happen. Like, no, I heard that.
Yeah. Sometimes the announcers will be like, and we apologize for the language. Remember, we are live at a sporting event.
I think my favorite was Al Michaels one time. They were in New York, I think it was, and they were doing the show, and some dude started cussing. He was like, "You goddamn hussy!" And you heard Al Michaels go, so we're gonna. He got choked up over his That's hilarious.
And then Tony Romo correctly guesses which cusses people are going to be using at each other. He's going to be like, and expect Deebo Samuel here to take a direct shot with an F word at Chandler Jones, and then go there and do it because somehow Tony Romo always gets it right.
Look at the formation. Look for formation here. I mean,
yeah.
You clearly tell he's
formation. It just makes sense. They're going to talk shit to each other.
He's going on a 9 route straight to FU City.
One thing I did want to talk about here is I saw somebody on Twitter because of all of this going on with the protests. I know we want to keep this off the politics as much as possible, but I saw like one person in particular, they obviously don't watch sports, but they had commented on like the 49ers page or something, or the NFL page. It was like, well, if y'all really feel that bad, we'll re-sign Kaepernick. And I was sitting here thinking, I was like, Cam Newton is better. Like,
yeah, sign Cam.
Why? Why are you doing Cap for this? It should be Cam.
Yeah.
What are you doing
Right.
here?
I saw something that was funny. It was funny because the Redskins, with the blackout today, the Redskins posted something. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweeted to the Redskins, "Really want to stand for racial justice? Change your name." Somebody retweeted it, but this tweet officially ends AOC's prospects of signing as a quarterback with the National League football team. This officially ends her chances of becoming the quarterback for the Washington Redskins. I just thought that was funny.
Oh my goodness. I did not see that today, and I'm glad I didn't, because we are part of the Redskins tweet team where we keep all that negative nonsense out. And
Yes. Yes.
I wanted to make sure of that. Now, I wanted to give a couple of special shout-outs. Because we had some really nice people giving us some shout-outs. Brad Mead over in the UK. I wanted to appreciate his nice things that he had to say about us. Oi! So, so Mead,
Brad Mead, mate.
Mead,
Thanks,
enjoy a
Chuck.
beer tonight. Let's cheers. We'll cheers this weekend for
Enjoy
a beer.
a point.
For a point.
Draw me a pint.
Hey,
Draw
and
me a point.
speaking of, I just watched this movie. Have you guys seen The Gentleman? The Guy Ritchie film that just came out?
No, what
Nah,
is
I
that?
wanna
Is that
see
like
it,
a
though.
porno or something?
No, but it has a bunch of dudes in it. It has like Charlie Hunnam, Matthew McConaughey, but Matthew McConaughey, dude, I'm telling you, absolutely
He's awesome.
destroys it. It's a lot. It's really funny, but there's a lot of action, and it's really, really good. So if I suggest you guys to go watch it. I'm being serious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen
I
the
will check
trailer.
that
It looks
out.
good.
Yeah.
It's
Another
really well done.
another good movie that just hits you right in the feels, especially me, because I have a little brother with Down syndrome. But a Peanut Butter Falcon with Shia LaBeouf. That movie is hilarious. First of all, it's so funny, but it's such a good movie, man. It's so cute, it's so tight, it's hilarious, and it's really good. So check that out. But shit, I don't remember what I was gonna say. I just got flustered.
I know, just
I was
because of
gonna
the
say
movie.
something.
Dude, the movie got you right in the feels.
Daggone it! Don't you hate it when that happens?
It sucks, dude. It's terrible. I hate
Oh
it.
man, what was I gonna say? It was something important too.
I'm sure it was. I'm not. What was it in
I don't know.
regards
What were we talking about?
to? Hall, do you have any movies or anything you recently started watching?
No. I'm actually in the process of trying to find something to watch because I've ran out of stuff to watch. So I'm gonna take all these suggestions into.
Did you finish Ozark?
Yeah.
How was
binged
it?
The hell out of it. It was great. That was season 3 was great. Season 4 is gonna be crazy. But yeah, it was definitely better than season 2. Season 1 was the best one to me. But
I did not finish it.
You didn't like it?
I didn't. I'm the worst with these type of TV shows, dude. Because like I'll watch like the first season, and then as soon as I start seeing like just like some sort of like lameness, I'm just like, all right, I'm out. When The Walking Dead started all these like love relationships and everything, that's when I was like, dude, okay, I'm out of here. Like this
Yeah,
is
never
just
Tell
too
you on
much.
that.
Right. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I'm sorry.
Hmm.
I remember. How about Vince McMahon being a Redskins fan?
Oh yes.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
When
was
who's
watching-
gonna tell us that?
I thought I knew everything about that guy. He's my favorite billionaire. And I was watching an interview with I forget who it is. He's not
Undertaker?
important, but the Undertaker, and he was on Bill Simmons' show. Bill Simmons.
Yeah, and I'm a
The Undertaker and
Redskins
Bill
fan.
Simmons, and Undertaker was talking about how like a funny story about Vince, and he was like, as you know, I'm from Texas. I'm a diehard Cowboys fan, and little known fact about Vince is he's a big Redskins fan. So we had a bet, and he was like talking about how, of course, the Cowboys smashed the Redskins, and Vince sent me $100 in pennies or something. But what an ultimate flex!
Dude, that is some big ball shit, because that's definitely
It
what I would
is.
do.
So we got Matthew McConaughey, Vince, and Dale Sr. or Dale Jr. Not Dale,
Dale
Sr.
And the
and
Punisher
Dale
too.
Jr.
And the
and the
Punisher.
Punisher. Right.
Really? The Punisher's in
We got
Redskins?
yeah, he is. He's a diehard Redskins fan. We got a lot of good ones out there.
Man, why
And-
can't those rich ass people convince Dan Snyder to do anything? Jeez.
I know. What the fuck? And Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
Tom Cruise used to be a Redskins.
Yeah,
Granted,
but-
let's
no, but
be
we-
real.
you
Tom
shouldn't
Cruise
have-
doesn't know shit about football.
We just lost a lot of credibility by you saying Tom Cruise. Please stop saying that. I hate it when people bring that up because I get angry over that stuff. Stop saying
Because
Tom Cruise.
it was literally because they were doing business or something together, him and Snyder. That's why he was here.
No, I just think Tom Cruise is so lame.
He is.
Like, he's just one of those dudes, like, if you met him out in public, you'd be like, God, you're so small.
But you know what? Even us saying bad shit about Tom Cruise, it doesn't make a dent in Dan Snyder's bank account.
It's true.
Doesn't make
a
a
point.
dent.
It's true.
Very true.
And look, Tom Cruise is nice and everything, but look, I really don't care about him, especially in his Scientology days. So any last any last minute comments?
No.
Totes.
I like your enthusiasm, Hall. Keep it up. I love it. Hey, but in all seriousness, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in again. I'm sorry, this is more of a chilled out podcast. We'll have another podcast for you guys on Thursday night. We're bringing on Parker Hamlet again from Redskins Brawl. He'll be joining us to talk everything latest Redskins, and it's always a good episode when Parker comes on. All right, everyone.
Yeah,
so please
love
like
Parker.
and share the page on Facebook, on YouTube, Twitter, iTunes Podcast, Instagram, all in the 9 yards. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I'm Kyle.
I'm Hall.
And I'm depressed.
I like it.
It's a very real problem in my life.
Yeah, it is. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Redskins football. Woo!
Yeah.
Audio Jungle.